I went to take my kids to their martial arts class last night. And the studio is in a town near me. And we usually park at the library and walk over to where the studio is. Well, we got to the library and we saw crap loads of police officers, police cars, and we heard a helicopter going overhead. Now, my first thought was there are a lot of unhoused people in this area, and I bet ICE has shown up to round them all up. And that's frightening enough as it is. So we find a different place to park, away from the fray. And as we're walking around the corner towards the studio where my kids do martial arts, we heard a couple people yelling over by the MARTA station. MARTA is the Atlanta Transit System. And one of them screams out, she's got a gun. She said she was going to kill me. And then I hear a man shouting something unintelligible. In this same moment, because I had been doing it while we were walking, I was looking up what was happening over at the library. And while my fear of the American Gestapo was absolutely founded, because they're all over Atlanta, it was actually a shooting that happened it was a dispute over a stolen phone. And today, even, there's very little about it in the news. And I was thinking, this is America. I had to stop my kids on the way to their martial arts class, tell them to immediately turn around and get back in the car so we could leave the area. Because there was a gunman on the loose. My kids today in my town at their martial arts studio. And I have been in proximity to violence before. I have been in danger of person-to-person violence many times myself. And I was pissed off about it. It scared me, for sure. But last night, my kids were there. And in another country, had this exact same thing happened, it would have been national news. I would have been told far before I ever drove into that area. I would have had an alert that there was some sort of violent act happening right down the street from their studio and that maybe we shouldn't go that way. But in America, it's just another day. Two unhoused people getting into an argument over an iPhone ends with a gun. And I need people to understand that my children will never be the same after what just happened. They didn't see a gun. They were not victims of gun violence. They were just in the proximity to this. And something has changed. Just the prospect of being somewhere near something like this happening has changed something in my children. That's not enough for you to regulate. That's not enough for you to require psychological tests before owning a weapon. That's not enough for you to vote to seize and check the licensure of every weapon you see. The fact that my kids are freaking traumatized by something that happened in our hometown in one of their safe spaces, their martial arts studio, that's not enough? Okay, well, if that's not enough, how about the kids that die? Is that enough? The ones that die screaming under their desks in schools? You got nothing more than thoughts and prayers for those kids? But of course it's not enough. They're all foaming at the mouth to see the violence that's being perpetrated against the communities out on the streets in America today. Anyway, I'm upset about this. It's a lot. I've been dealing with it all day. My kids have been dealing with it all day. We were all really frightened by it last night. Thankfully, I was able to take them to, a cute little pizza joint and, let them play arcade games and stuff. And it kind of helped soften things a little bit. But I've been, letting them talk to me about it. And they seem to be okay now, but they were really frightened and I'm upset about it. But one of the things that I said to them is that sometimes things don't make sense. And I know a lot of people out there are saying, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Sometimes things are absolutely senseless. Like my kids, now that they're scared to go to their martial arts studio because some dude had a gun in the library. It's senseless. It doesn't make any sense. But that's okay. Because I've been calling this positive nihilism. If nothing makes sense and senselessly horrible things can happen at any moment, then it's just as reasonable to assume that senselessly wonderful things can happen at any moment. Things can just get better out of nowhere. Things can get far better than we ever imagined them being. And the evidence is that they are far worse than we ever imagined them being. Our imaginations were not enough to encompass what's going on right now. We all thought humanity was better than this. But please don't forget that senselessness is senselessness. It's not senselessly bad. It's just senseless. And sometimes things can be senselessly wonderful. Sometimes we can have senselessly amazing things happen to us, and things can change for the worse on a dime, and they can change for the better on a dime too, because it doesn't make any sense. So while you can't have faith in everything happening for a reason, because that's just simply not true, I want you to have faith in the fact that you're a badass that can handle whatever happens. The senselessly horrible, the senselessly wonderful, you'll be able to make sense of it all. And you'll survive it and thrive in spite of it, or thrive because of it. But as long as we keep our heads screwed on straight, everything's going to be okay. Stay safe out there, friends. Keep your head on the swivel and keep fighting the good fight.